She has to retrieve it from the post office. And then I want her to be here for the family reunion my dad's having the weekend of July 4th. So from the 1st to the 4th.
So it's coming.
Yeah, this weekend.
All right.
So she able to play?
Huh?
She's coming in? Yeah.
Great
job. Celebrating our slavery days in 1776.
He's celebrating his immersion.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, because that's right. That's right.
All right. All brothers remove their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. We face the east towards Jerusalem. Elder Mikael, can you go ahead and open this up?
For the Yahweh was holy and true, covenant Elohim, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. All thanks for the Yahweh, and all glory be to you for the Yahweh, because you are truly righteous for the Yahweh. Thank you for allowing us to come together for the Yahweh, and micro with you for the Yahweh. Father, we thank you for the Yahweh, for allowing your word, Father, to be spread upon us for the Yahweh. And we pray for the Yahweh that your word enters our hearts, Father. So I pray to keep our hearts soft and malleable, Father, to speak your word. Heavenly Father, we know, Father Yahweh, we make a lot of mistakes, Father Yahweh. And we ask, Father, have mercy upon us, Father Yahweh. Allow us, Father Yahweh, to repent, Father Yahweh, for the things that we do, Father Yahweh. And we change from the ways that we are, ways that we have learned, Father, that is not right. Heavenly Father, we thank you in Yeshua's holy by name, Father Yahweh. Give us the chance, Father Yahweh, to worship you, Father Yahweh, in truth. Because your word is truth, Father. And you bring us into the light, Father Yahweh. Allow us, Father, to be able to be your children, Father, that shares your life, Father Yahweh. Because that's why you give it. To let us understand, Father, that you are life, Father Yahweh. And you are truth, Father Yahweh. And we are supposed to be ambassadors, Father, of your kingdom to share your life, Father Yahweh. So we give you thanks and praise in Yeshua's holy name. To do your ministry, Father, not our ministry, Father, by your word, Father, not our word, Father. Give you thanks and praise in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Just keep it close. Yeah. So I ain't gonna never forget that this time when we had to wait. I ain't gonna never forget it.
So you remember that next time she gets on your nerves real hard, and you just about to lose that patience, and you be like, wait a minute. You know how long I had to wait to deal with this aggravation right here? Man, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Shalom, sis.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. My name is Yadon Yasharal. I'm with my younger brother, Yonatan Yasharal.
Shabbat shalom, Maki.
Shabbat shalom. And the title of today's Shabbat study is Choose You, Life or Death. Choose you, life or death. The amazing thing about our Elohim is that every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. But despite all that, he gave us free will. All his other creations, you know, they do exactly what they're created to do. They just work. The sun goes up when it goes up, goes down when it goes down. You know, light comes in when light comes in, water is water. Everything does exactly what it's supposed to do. But with his creation, in which he decided to adopt as his firstborn as his sons and daughters of the Most High, he gave us free will, the decision to choose. Do we want to be like our Father? Do we want to be part of the Elohim of living? Do we want to be part of his Son and be life forever? Or do we want to be like the adversary, which is death? So you have Yahweh, which is life, and his Son is life. And you have the adversary, the devil, and his son is death. And you can do righteousness, which is of the Father, receive life, or you can do lies and deceit and transgression, which is sin, which is the son of the adversary, the devil, which is death. So he's given us this unique choice, and the blessings that we have in our lives and how we live and how we bless others is in our power to choose this decision. So we're going to get into that decision and get a better understanding so that we can learn to make the proper decisions to give us life, especially while we're in this carnal life, to give us more life more abundantly. The adversary has an excellent marketing team which tries to convince you that this is life. All these material things, all this mammon and gold and silver and all this is your life. Do whatever you got to do to get that, to gain that. But then by doing that, you're giving yourself death in the long run because you're missing what the true life is. Somebody told you that was worth something. So we got to reverse that understanding, deprogram our brains and understand what is life. Life is love. Life is chastening. Life is family. Life is sacrifice. Life is good times with intellect and with spirit and with family and with fellowship. Life isn't always about riding a Ferrari and turning up in a club and all this. There's a time and place for all those things, but that should never have been the priority. So let's open up in Joshua chapter 24. Joshua, or in the English, Joshua chapter 24, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
And Yahshua gathered all the tribes of Yasharal to Shechem, and called for the elders of Yasharal, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers. And they presented themselves before Elohim. And Yahshua said unto all the people, Thus says Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal, Your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nachor, and they served other gods. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood and led him through all the land of Canaan and multiplied his seed and gave him Yitzchak. And I gave him unto Jacob, and I gave unto him Jacob and Esau, and I gave unto Esau Mount Seir to possess it, but Jacob and his children went down into Mitzrayim, Egypt. I sent Moshe also in Aram when I plagued Mitzrayim, according to that which I did among them, and afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Mitzrayim, and you came unto the sea. And the Mitzrites pursued after your fathers with chariots and horsemen unto the Red Sea. And when they cried unto Yahweh, he put darkness between you and the Mitzrites, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them. And your eyes have seen what I have done in Mitzrayim, and you dwelt in the wilderness a long season. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites, which dwelt on the other side of the Jordan, and they fought with you, and I gave them into your hand, that you might possess their land, and I destroyed them from before you. Then Balak, the son of Zippor, the king of Moab, arose and warred against Yasharal, and sent and called Balaam, the son of Beor, to curse you. But I will not hearken unto Balaam, therefore he blessed you still, so I delivered you out of his hand. And you went over to Jordan and came unto Jericho. And the men of Jericho fought against you, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And I delivered them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out from before you, even the 2 kings of the Amorites, but not with your sword, nor with your bow. And I have given you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you built not, and you dwell in them. Of the vineyards and olive yards which you planted not do you eat.
Okay, so this is our history. See, what we are taught is our history start with a slave ship. We was running around in some, tropical jungle with no clothes on, throwing spears with a bone in our nose. And this was our history. And then all of a sudden, some African came and hit us over the head, put us in a bag and put us on a ship and brought us to America. This is the history that they teach us. Like, this is your history. No, this book, this is our history. We have a significance. The Most High went through great extremes to sanctify his children, to pull them out, to give them an inheritance. And again, I have given you land for which you did not labor, cities which you built not, and you dwell in them, and of vineyards and olive yards which you planted not, you do eat. So the Most High gave us a house. He gave us an inheritance. And this is why we were responsible for living righteously in that community, because all these things weren't given to us. He removed people that were there because they weren't living righteously. And then we moved into the land and decided we're going to do the same thing that the people in the land did because we special. Don't work like that.
Also, brother, I wanted to add that Yahweh has already shown what he wants to do good for us if we obey him. I mean, also, when we look at that same verse 13, he also made that one of the curses. That if you did not follow him, that you will build houses and plant vineyards
and
you will not live in,
right.
and you will not eat of.
Right.
So, but he shows here that his word remains true, that he already showed what he would do for his children if they obey him. And they also enjoyed that land and housing that he didn't build and food that they didn't plant. But he said, if you don't, then you will serve other masters that you don't know, and you will build houses for them and plant business for them, but you won't be able to enjoy and have wives.
Right.
More, he said, curses came upon you. You have wives you really want to enjoy, your children.
Right.
All the things that he put upon us. So this is just another spirit to say that Yahweh, how he takes care of his children.
Right. And that's a great point, Elder, because at the end of the day, he gave us the blessings up front here. Just like Deuteronomy 28, he start with all the blessings. Look at everything that I want to give to you as a nation. I'm choosing you out of all the people in the earth, your family, your nationality, to bless you. All you got to do is be this example of how you can keep these blessings and how you can gain these blessings. So it was given to us. But on the flip side, there's a gift and a curse. The gift is you get all the blessings, you'd be high above everybody else. But the curse is if you don't walk appropriately to keep all these blessings, then you will lose all your blessings. And not only will you lose your blessings, you'll be at the bottom and receive curses.
Brother, this is a good reminder that, because sometimes we get caught up with everything the world offers us, careers and possessions, and we get caught up chasing those things. This is a good reminder that Yahweh has placed before us life or death. And we have to know that our actions are going to be recompensed by Yah. So if we're introducing iniquity and evil into the world, it's Yah's purpose to make sure all those things are shut out.
Right.
So if we're committing those acts that he doesn't like, and we forget that we're being governed by an even higher authority, President of the United States is not the highest authority that we're under.
Right.
There's an even greater authority under that. Look at Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 8 talks about even when you think that there's the highest authority, there's one even higher than that.
Exactly.
And Yah is going to curtail all the evil out of the earth, but he's given us a chance to choose and understand that those wrong deeds are going to come with a recompense. A lot of unfavorable things are going to happen to you. Everything you put your hand to, everything you put your heart to gain and set your heart on, I'm going to frustrate those aspirations that you have. And that's enough to frustrate a man. When he says, your wives and your children are going to captivity, that's enough to frustrate you. When you're in doubt of your life, those things frustrate you because you don't have a surety of your life.
Right. Joshua chapter 24, and we're at verse 14.
Now therefore fear Yahweh and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood in Mizraim, and serve you Yahweh.
So put away your idols that you served in your previous life and what you were raised up to do. Once you're shown, okay, these are idols. This is not real. This is something that man manufactured and gave to you and told you that this is your God. You have been proven. You have been seeing miracles done by a true living Elohim. Now that you know this truth, put away those gods. Put away the worship of those gods. Choose you life over death. Go ahead.
Verse 15.
15.
And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day who you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh.
So if it seems evil to you for the Most High to bless you with all these things, land you never had before, vineyards you never grew, make you the head and not the tail. If that seems evil to you and you want to serve the gods of your forefathers on the other side of the Jordan, or you want to serve these brand new gods that America done made up, if that's what you want to serve, serve that. Make up your mind, choose, and serve. But don't come in here trying to claim the Most High and claim that you Israel and claim that you are blessed and highly favored, Yah's chosen people. But then yet you don't want to do the things to garner those blessings, because now the Most High has to make an example out of you. He's got, like you said, he's got to root you and frustrate you and show you like, no, this is not the way. Because you have youth looking at you. You got other brothers and sisters with less experience looking at you and saying, yeah, this must be the way. Be corrupt. Anything you can do, because it's business. It's just business. All that type of stuff. And they believe that this is what's going to give them success. All to just gain possibly worldly success, just to realize on your deathbed, man, this stuff wasn't worth nothing. I don't have nobody in here. My own kids fighting over my money. Nobody cares about me, and I'm uncertain of what's in front of me.
It's nothing more hurtful than to labor to plant something and another nation is going to eat the fruit thereof. That's frustration. So Yah's made sure that part of this judgment is to make sure you're frustrated that whatever your desire is, I'm going to take it from you. Right.
And that's a blessing. Imagine you done worked hard your whole life, been successful. You put your family last and you put your career first, and you made all this money. Then you bought you a nice family and everything, and you in your deathbed and your kids fighting over everything. Your wife from here and your wife from there, they all fighting over your money. And guess who ends up getting the money? The lawyers and Uncle Sam. A nation you did not know came and took all your stuff.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Verse 16. And the people answered and said, far be it that we should forsake Yahweh to serve other gods. For Yahweh our Elohim, he it is that brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Mizraim from the house of bondage, and which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people through whom we passed.
Yeah, that's nice. That's mouth. That's mouthpiece. I love the Lord. I love God. That's that mouthpiece. Because as soon as Moshe went up that mount and he took too long, there it is. They got the golden calf and they saying, these be your gods that took you out. So we have a mouthpiece. Like, what was it? Isaiah, my people's lips flatter me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Because that's your flesh. Your flesh wants to be flattered the Most High so you can, in hopes, get some blessings. But the flesh don't want to suffer any kind of sacrifice or any kind of endurance. So naturally, it's going to do what it wants to do.
Brother, that's all.
I just want to say, brother, it also comes true dealing with in John chapter 1, dealing with around 14 or 13, we talk about he came among us, not his people knew him not.
Right.
Because we didn't know him or not, it's because you didn't believe. If you understood what the Torah was saying, if he was waiting on the side, if you heard the words that was coming out of his mouth from his spirit, you would have followed him. You would have known his voice. You would have understood what he represented. You see? So you wouldn't be running after these other guys. If you knew those other guys, you would throw them in the garbage daughters came, throw them in the fire, so forth, and learn the truth and live out of you. You understand?
Mhm.
So that's why we made our mistakes, because your heart was not in it. That's why when you read the New Testament and so forth, they say these people never knew him, people know him not. It's because you don't understand the spirit he's coming from. It
Right.
was never in you.
Right.
You know, so that it rings true.
Go ahead, brother. No, you had something?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
For Yahweh are Elohim, this is verse 18.
Verse 18. Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites, which dwelt in the land. Therefore will we also serve Yahweh, for he is our Elohim. And Yahshua said unto the people, you cannot serve Yahweh, for he is a holy Elohim, and he is a jealous El. He will not forgive your transgressions nor your sins. If you forsake Yahweh and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you hurt and consume you after that he has done you good.
Now, Yahshua is being very upfront. Listen, man, you can't serve Yahweh. All right, because you can't go back to doing the things that you were doing before after you've been exposed. I have come out, the creator of everything that was ever created, the creator of the firstborn spirit, came out and showed himself to you, made an appearance to you, came to your nation, called you out, freed you, slapped down the biggest bully on the block, Egypt, like you was nothing, freed you by miracles. He could have just snapped his finger and put you in the land. But he did all these miracles for us. And then for us, of all the people of the earth that actually know the Most High, know that he's true and know his character, to turn our backs and pick up a piece of wood and be like, this is my God.
Right.
Or turn around and look at a man and be like, he's God in flesh. He's Pharaoh because he got a bunch of people listening to him. That is an extreme smoke up his nose, because he has not shown himself to any other nation other than the children of Yasharal. He has picked remnants of people from other nations that he's anointed with his spirit. But he's never shown himself to a whole entire nation. No. Amos chapter 3, you alone of all the nations of the earth have I known. And then to turn your back on him. So it's better that he never shows himself to you, and then you get a few stripes, than him to show himself to your entire nation by miracles and a mighty hand, and bless you on top of that. Mm-hmm. That's how Dawid was feeling. Like, look, I done came and I took all your people with Abigail and Nabal. All your people was a wall on both sides to all these territories that want to rob and steal from you. And then you turn around and curse me to my face. And that's a man. He's ready to kill everything that piss against the wall. Yeah. And that's a man. So what you think the creator that has done everything for you is going to feel when you turn your back to something that you know 100% is not real?
Mm-hmm. I was thinking back at that scripture you brought up from Isaiah about my people flatter me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. And I think we all have to do that reflection as to, am I just doing flattery to y'all? Like, am I just doing stuff in the face of people, and that's the only time I'm putting forth effort?
Pharisee-like.
Yeah, very Pharisee-like. The only time I'm putting forth effort to be righteous is when somebody's watching. What about when nobody's watching? What about when you're by yourself? What about in the home? What about amongst your family? That's the face that people see, and those are the people that always test us the most. But sometimes Yah leaves a few of the foreign nations among you to test whether you're going to obey him or not. Like, when they come against you and say this and all manner of evil against you, is there still righteousness coming out your lips? And we have to see, am I only flattering Yah when I'm around folks? But when I'm around folks who are lightly esteemed, which we're not even supposed to lightly esteem anyone. Right. When I'm around folks who are lightly esteemed, I become a whole different person. And we feel that Yahweh doesn't see that. So we have to get more genuine in our worship, that look, whether up or down, exalted or humbled, in the midst of family, in the midst of strangers, let it be one face. Let it be one manner of person that I put forth to show that to Yahweh, that I'm genuine in any aspect of life. Whether I'm in front of you and amongst people, whether there's nobody around, I know I'm still in front of you, so everything is genuine. And that's why Yahshua came and was like, you know, when you give your alms and your prayers, don't go on the corners as the hypocrites do to be seen of men. Because Yah knows when they're not being seen of men, they don't put that effort out anymore. And Yah gets to show who's genuine and who's not. Like, you don't really care about me. Right. Because when it comes down to it and you're comfortable, all I'm going to be doing is reinforcing your bad habits.
Right.
Instead of reinforcing that genuine righteousness that you actually have in you, that's the same face year round, dark or light.
Exactly. And like, you know, anybody that plays sports or train in martial arts or anything, the coaches and the trainers will tell you point blank, you're going to play like you practice. However you practice is how you're going to play. Now, you don't want to be a practice player that you're great in practice, but when the game starts, you know, you freezing up. No, you're supposed to turn up. But when game comes, you're not practicing anymore. Because this is all that you know. So this is the way you want to practice. So when you're around your people, you have certain Hebrews, they Hebrews around Hebrews.
Yeah.
But they go in the world, they worldly. No, the practice is around your people. Because this is your home, this is your family, this is where you're getting your stuff together. When you go around the people, that's game time. Because now you are serving an ambassador to the Most High. And they're supposed to see how the children of Yasharal are supposed to act. So when they see us, they're supposed to see Mashiach, Messiah-like characteristics in us. And we have to keep that in mind when we out there in public or we dealing with people, especially when we angry or disrespected. Are we exhibiting Messiah-like characteristics, Mashiach-like characteristics? Go ahead, Elder.
Well, I just wanted to put in what you just said too, brother, about when you're around your brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters are supposed to correct you. When you do wrong, when you say wrong things, when you wrong attitude, or even when you fall on the ground, your brothers and sisters are supposed to pick you up and stand and correct you, and correct you with love. And the reason why, because those brothers and sisters are truly supposed to love you. They're supposed to love you with the love of Yah. And Yah's word is love. You understand? So when you correct your brothers and sisters, they're supposed to take note of that. Say, look, my brother's not trying to hurt me. I know the word that came out of his mouth or her mouth hurts right now because it really exposed me, and it's convicting me. And it's supposed to convict you. You're supposed to judge yourself so Yah does not have to judge his children. You understand? So, yes, we're supposed to practice as we go on. So if our brothers and sisters deal with us correctly, and it's going to be injurious, we can go back and say, look, brother, you really meant that, or you hurt my feelings, stuff like that. Look, brother, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but I wanted to express and expound on what Yahweh said, because I can't allow my brother to go out there in the world and have the same attitude, or same feelings, and he hasn't corrected himself when he has to address people outside who don't understand this word. So we have to check ourselves so Yah don't have to deal with us as harshly as Yahweh wants to or doesn't want to, because he wants to show love for his children. He doesn't have to beat us into the ground for things that, but he has to check us. See, no, I can't let you go out there and like a fool, you know what I mean? And then you represent me.
Right.
I can't do that. And just want to add on that a little bit, Moshe, I always go to this because it has so much knowledge in it. Moshe was, as he said, he will be a God to them. Because you're going to be close to me and you're going to give information to them. You're going to give it to Aaron, and Aaron's going to be your man to give information to the people too. He says, so, I can't have you acting a fool out here.
Right.
When he lost his temper and disrespected Yahweh by smacking the heck out of the rock instead of speaking to the rock, Yahweh blessed the people with the water. He's not going to hold back his blessing from the people, but he dealt with his servant.
Right.
He's supposed to know better. And as my brother Yedon says, the more you, I say, brother, the more you know, the more you expect it.
Right.
So Yahweh going to look at his servant and say, no, I can't have that. I can't let you disrespect me. I'm blessing the people, I can't let you disrespect me. The people are going to think that they can do the same thing when you are on a higher level than them. Not going to happen. So he shows no respect to person. He dealt with his servant, and that's what he's saying. We have to love each other enough to respect what's coming out of each other's mouths and say, okay, wait a minute. You're wrong on that one, brother. You're wrong on that one, sister. And show love to correct our brothers and sisters, not injure each other, so we can go on and do Yahweh's will correctly.
Mm-hmm. Joshua chapter 24, and we're at verse 21.
And the people said unto Yahshua, nay, but we will serve Yahweh. And Yahshua said unto the people, you are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen you, Yahweh, to serve him. And they said, we are witnesses. Now therefore put away, said he, the strange gods which are among you, and incline your heart unto Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal.
Now this is the same exact thing that he's asking us today. thousands of years later, it's the same simple thing. Put away these strange gods. And sometimes that strange God is us because we think we gods. Yeah. Or we call him the black woman God. Right? But incline your heart unto Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal. That doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. That means you are going to turn your heart towards the Most High, and you're going to try to do the actions and deeds that will bring you closer to him. Because the closer he is to you, if you moving towards him, that's the closer you are towards blessings. But if you're moving away from him and doing things that are against the Most High, you're moving the opposite direction of blessings. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And the people said unto Yahshua, Yahweh our Elohim will we serve, and his voice will we obey. And Yahshua made a covenant with the people that day, and set them a statute and an ordinance in Shechem. And Yahshua wrote these words in the book of the law of Elohim, and took a great stone and set it up there under an oak tree that was by the sanctuary of Yahweh. And Yahshua said unto all the people, Behold, this stone shall be a witness unto us, for it has heard all the words of Yahweh which he spoke unto us. It shall be therefore a witness unto you, lest you deny your Elohim. So Yahshua let the people depart, every man unto his inheritance.
All right, we can stop right there. So this is, again, reconfirmation of this covenant that was made before Joshua. It was made by these people's fathers that were there, that made the covenant with the Most High when Moshe was speaking. And an elder said, yes, all this we will do, we will do. This is a vow. This is a marriage vow. This is a covenant that's being made. So just because thousands of years have passed don't mean that covenant don't exist anymore. And this is why we're still in the condition that we are in as a people. But everybody else, all the other nations can do the exact same thing, and it's okay with them because they are not in covenant with the Most High. And that is one of the most important things for us to understand as a people, is that we are in covenant with the Most High. If you are royalty and you have a royal child, I don't care how many lineages that go after that, that child is still royal blood, regardless. He may not know how to act like royalty, but he's still going to be held to that same standard. So let's go to Devarim chapter 30, Deuteronomy chapter 30.
One of those good indicators for us to check ourselves when we're not around people is, you know, how we are around folks that's not necessarily the church. Mm-hmm. You know, those who provoke us, get on our nerves. Those are the best indicators as to where we are spiritually. Right. Where to make the changes, where to grow, where to improve, where temperance is necessary. Because we're not around each other in the church every single day. Right. You know, we're around non-believers. We're around people who don't reverence Yah. Right. We're around people that don't care about. We're around people who revile Yah. Mm-hmm. And how are we going to represent him among those folks? And we have the spirit. If we can judge angels, by all means, we could definitely judge ourselves in those times. Right.
And Yahshua spoke of that. It's like, don't just do these things to your own friends. The publicans do that. Even the wicked man turn around and bless his kid. What difference is that? Do those things to all people so that you know your Father above can bless you.
Why do you give unto those who you know can repay you?
Exactly. Deuteronomy, Devarim chapter 30, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations where Yahweh your Elohim has driven you, and shall return unto Yahweh your Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul.
So this is Deuteronomy chapter 30. Devarim. And it's talking about here point blank, and it shall come to pass when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I've set before you, and you shall call them to mind. You shall remember these things among all the nations where Yahweh has driven you. So this is talking about this dispersion from way back in Deuteronomy chapter 30. And all of this had to happen for several reasons. We had to learn that we're not going to be able to do what the rest of the world does. He's going to make an example. Like you take the bully on the block and you mop him, because you want to make an example to everybody. So we were made an example of, but at the same time, the adversary enjoyed that. The adversary enjoyed using these Goyim and these Gentiles and all these other nations that hated us to put this belt to our backside. But what also came out of that was the word was spread throughout the whole world. So what the devil decides to use for evil, the Most High will use for good. But all of this is explanation of why us? Why are we the ones dispersed everywhere? Why were we sent everywhere where everybody else migrated on their own, got a green card or flew or did this, where we came by slave ships to all these places? Go ahead.
This is verse 2. And shall return unto Yahweh your Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul. That then Yahweh your Elohim will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations where Yahweh your Elohim has scattered you.
Show me one other book, one other religion, one other faith that's giving you the end game, that's telling you what's going to happen to you, black man, that came from the slave trade. I'm telling you how you got here beyond your slave books. And I'm telling you what's going to happen when you return. Not just, oh, I'm just going to grab all Israel, we're going to put you back there. No, when you return, when you go away from the things that are causing you the curses, that I'm going to return you from all the places that I have scattered you. So it's giving you the end game. This is what I'm going to do to my righteous children, my remnant, the chosen. I'm going to return you. So we got to pay attention to those things and grasp, take power of the choice that you have the choice to choose this life, to go back into your own land, your own nativity with your forefathers and enjoy blessings, or choose you death. Go ahead, Elder.
I just want to bring that point up, brother. While we're talking about our people and the situation that we are in because of the covenant we made vocally, to our Most High, and would not uphold the covenant that we made with him, he said point blank that, he keeps his covenant, we the one who broke it.
Right.
So that's why we're in the situation, to this day. But also, it's funny how these people that produce these scriptures, this Bible, they add in the crib notes on the side that in the 20th century, the exiled people were restored to their homeland. They're talking about people that's in Israel right now who were the Ashkenaz,
Europeans,
the Khazars, the Sephardims, and so forth like that. They came from Russia and Poland, and so that was put in land in 1947, 1948 by America and Britain, and so forth, and as it is stated by the Rothschild family. So, where was their slavery? They could not make it in Mizraim when they second leading in skin cancer today.
Right.
So if people just look in history and break it down, they can see that the people are false. They're not the true Israel. They're not true Israel right there.
Right.
And our people's are going to be brought on ships. Where was their, how can they relate to Deuteronomy 28? You understand? So that's why we tell and we plead with our brothers to read scripture, to know, the history of our people. And also it's written in secular history. So that is how they got to fool our people, by lying and holding back knowledge and deeply needed. But the rest of the world can see the truth.
Right.
The rest of the world is trying to even ask, the dispersed to come back to the land.
Right.
So they wouldn't have to go through such trials and tribulations in their land right now.
Right.
But it tells you this book is not the time. When Yahweh sets the time, that's when he allows us to go back.
Right. And to speak on that point you made, those Jewish people, first of all, I don't know about anybody in this room that's blackish.
Right.
Either you're so-called black or you're not, point blank. Or mannish, either you're a man or you're not. Womanish, either you're a woman or you're not. So we know they're already telling on themselves. They call themselves Ashkenazi Jews. Right. You get in Genesis chapter 10 to tell you who Ashkenaz was. He's a German. He's from the seed of Japheth. He's not a Shemite. And even you can go right to the Israelite Gathering YouTube page. You can see the video where the press secretary of the White House, Helen Thomas, who passed away, said point blank, you people, you're not even Shemites. Go back to Poland and Russia and Germany, where y'all from. These people ain't from this land. And like what you said, in Israel is the second leading cases of skin cancer in the world.
That's right.
Because you're not from Africa. If you're allergic to water, you're not from the ocean. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
These people are like vampires. They're allergic to the sun. You can't go closer to the equator.
No.
But see, they still trying to.
The name of that president, he was over.
Gamal, Egypt.
Tell him
Not was it Nazir Gamal? The president said point blank, listen, you Israeli, not Israelites, but you Israeli. You don't belong here. The so-called Yehudim left out black and came back white.
Right.
It ain't a temperature that cold in this world to take a black man and turn him into a white man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
This is verse 3. That then Yahweh your Elohim, this is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 3. That then Yahweh your Elohim will turn your captivity and have compassion on you, and will return and gather you from all the nations where Yahweh your Elohim has scattered you. If any of you be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from there will Yahweh your Elohim gather you, and from there will he fetch you. And Yahweh your Elohim will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers. And Yahweh your Elohim will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed to love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live.
And this is what's going on right now. He's circumcising the hearts of the seed of our forefathers. And any brother that got circumcised can testify that, bruh, that's painful. That's a painful process. I was born in Jamaica. In Jamaica, they did a wicked thing. They stopped circumcising boys. And I think in the 60s, they stopped circumcising it. So when I came to America, my father had me circumcised at 5 years old. So I remember that feeling. That is a painful, painful process, being circumcised. So it's the same thing with the heart. When the heart is being circumcised and all that fleshliness that you're used to gets removed. But it's for a purpose. It's to separate you and sanctify you, and it's a sealing of the covenant. So that's the sealing of the old covenant, the circumcision, showing that you are going to be the firstborn. And then you have a spiritual circumcision that happens later, which is a circumcision of the heart, moving away all that rock and stone over your stony heart, so you can have a fleshly heart with that the tables of this word could be written on. Those are the two types of circumcisions that's going to happen. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Yahweh your Elohim will put all these curses upon your enemies and on them that hate you, which persecuted you. And you shall return and obey the voice of Yahweh and do all his commandments, which I command you this day. And Yahweh your Elohim will make you plenteous in every work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers. If you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if you turn unto Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul, for this commandment which I command you this day is not hidden from you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that you should say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very near unto you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. See, I have set before you this day life and good, and death and evil. In that I command you this day to love Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to keep his judgments and his statutes and his covenants, that you may live and multiply. And Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in the land where you go to possess it. But if your heart turn away, so that you will not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land where you go over Jordan to go to possess it.
So he's giving you point blank. He made an easy decision. Choose you, Yah, and receive all these blessings, and be in the land and enjoy the blessings of being you hooked up with the top guy. You cool with the guy at top. Enjoy those blessings. Or choose you death. Do what you want to do and get all these curses. But you're not going to say, well, I'm going to pick a third choice. I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm going to get blessings. No, you're not the creator. You don't have that power. The adversary, the devil, doesn't have that power to make that decision. So he gave it, the power was in our hand. But this is what a great Elohim will do, a mighty one will do, will make you serve him by your own free will. What good is it? A man with power can grab up a bunch of people and enslave them and force them, threaten their families or give them a bunch of money or do whatever and make them do something. But to make a person realize that, man, your ways is higher than my ways. And I had it wrong. I thought these were the blessings, but these are the blessings. And now I understand why I'm in the curses. And make that man turn around, that is a true mighty Elohim. And then now to have the whole world fall under that, that is mighty. That goes to the point where you have people that say, well, he's only the God of Israel. He only going to be for black people. Everybody else is left. What kind of God is that? The only people that serve him is his own people. What kind of God is that? A real Elohim is the whole world will serve him.
That's right.
The whole world will serve him. Go ahead, Elder.
I just wanted to state, brother, we go back to verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, could be wrong, but if I was the enemy, I would keep you far from verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because for one, they tell you in verse 6, and Yahweh Elohim will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed.
Right.
To love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And verse 7 says, and Yahweh thy name will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate you, which persecute you.
Right.
So you think the rest of the world who has not looked in this book realize, as we really come together as a people to worship the true and righteous Elohim, that they're going to receive those curses because they hate us. And just like you said, I'll bring that into, if you love Yahweh, you're going to love his people too.
Right.
And he's going to bring you in to share in a level of inheritance.
Right.
But if you hate his people, you want to injure his people, you hate Elohim, these curses are going to be on your enemies. So
right.
This is the information, this is the message that need to go out to our people also, let them understand. Mm-hmm. You want to stop these curses from bombarding on top of your head? From waking up in the morning and thinking about, and wish it was evening, and wish it was morning, because so much strife is that's coming at you and our people, then follow Yahweh and let this curse go on your enemies.
Right. That was a very good point, man. If you love the Most High, you're going to love his people. How can you turn around and tell me you love me, but then you don't love my family?
Right.
You don't love my children. You don't love my daughters, but you say you love me? Then you a liar. You don't love me. So you have those people out there that say they love the Most High, but they hate Israelites. They hate black folks. Mm-hmm. You know, they look at us as the children of slaves, less than them. You don't love the Most High. You love somebody else that hates us. A murderer. You are a murderer from the beginning. That's what he said to the adversary, the devil.
That's right.
So that's who you worship, because you love his children, which is the world. But you don't love his children of the Most High, which are those that do righteousness. So that goes for us as well. If you hate your own people, that's why it says you can't love the Most High if you hate your brother. Mm-hmm. Because then you're a murderer. You hate your brother, you're a murderer. And if you're a murderer, then you're doing the works of your father, who was a murderer from the beginning, the adversary, the devil. Go ahead and finish that up, bro.
Verse 17, but if your heart turn away so that you will not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land where you go over to Jordan to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and your seed may live, that you may love Yahweh your Elohim, and that you may obey his voice, and that you may cleave unto him, for he is your life and the length of your days, that you may dwell in the land which Yahweh sware unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, to Yaakov, to give them.
All right. Let's go to Proverbs, Mishlei, chapter 24.
Proverbs.
So when somebody is in the midst of making that decision, if they're given to a decision where they want to choose death, of course we are commanded to rebuke our brothers and sisters in love and not let sin suffer upon them. But you can't force your will on them. If the Most High himself gave us will to make that choice of life and death, who are we to force anybody to see something that they can't see or walk in a way that they don't want to walk? So we are told not to meddle with those people that are given to change. And we're not, and when we get into meddle, we're going to see what that definition of meddle means and what is the true understanding of what he's trying to say about people given to change, of not meddling with them. So we're in Proverbs, Mishlei, chapter 24, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
Be not you envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. For their heart studies destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established. And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increases strength. For by wise counsel you shall make your war, and in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Wisdom is too high for a fool, he opens not his mouth in the gate. He that devises to do evil shall be called a mischievous person. The thought of foolishness is sin, and the scorner is an abomination to men. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. If you forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death, and those that are ready to be slain, if you say, behold, we knew it not, does not he that ponders the heart consider it? And he that keeps your soul, does he not know it? And shall not he render to every man according to his works? Thank you, Todah.
So when he's talking about in Proverbs 24 and verse 10, he says, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. So we immediately take that selfishly that, when times is rough and we just give up because stuff is hard, then your strength is small. But then you see right after the next verse, it says, if you forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death and those that are ready to be slain, and you say, well, I didn't know that they were doing this or whatever. Does not the Most High see this and say, wait a minute, you mean you saw my child out there about to walk in a hole and you said, well, that ain't me, and you turned around and you let him walk in the hole, and you try to act like you can tell a man that, oh, I didn't even see him. That was your son? But you can't tell the Most High, somebody that sees in your heart, that knew your decision before you even made it.
There you go.
So this is what it's talking about. If you faint in the day of adversity, when you see your brother about to walk into a hole or your sister about to do something that's going to damage herself, and you say, I kind of like the benefits I get from that person, so I don't want to say nothing that's going to ruffle their feathers. And then you sit here and act like, oh, I didn't know. No, there's going to be a recompense because your strength is small. You choosing death because you choosing to love yourself over loving the children of the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 13. My son, eat you honey because it is good, and the honeycomb which is sweet to your taste. So shall knowledge of wisdom be unto your soul. When you have found it, then there shall be a reward, and your expectation shall not be cut off. Lay not wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Spoil not his resting place. For a just man falls 7 times and rises up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. And
this is what religion will do as well. Religion would tell you, come to this church, put this money in this plate, and you good. You're fine. Fall as much as you want to fall, because guess what? Jesus saved you. No, nowhere in this book does it say that. But it does say, don't beat yourself up if you fall, because even a righteous man falls 7 times. So a righteous man is going to fall. But you can't leave out the second part. But he rises up again. That is the key word. It's not the 7 times number. It's the key word that when you fell, you got up.
That's right.
Yeshua, the Mashiach, Christ, said point blank, he who endures is fit for the kingdom. You enduring trying to give up. You enduring that at time of adversity, your strength is weak, but you continue pushing. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Rejoice not when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. Lest Yahweh see it and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. Fret not yourself because of evil men, neither be you envious at the wicked. For there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. My son, fear you, Yahweh and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. For their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knows the ruin of them both?
All right, so it's saying, meddle not with them that are given to change. For calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knows the ruin of them both? Now, who's these both? The both is those that are meddling with those in change. The person that's changing, that's deciding, I want to do this, and the other person that's meddling. So when we see that word meddling, we see English, the English understanding of meddling is like, messing with somebody when they're trying to change. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that, because now when you go down to right there, it says, if you faint in the day of adversity and you forbear to deliver them that are drawn into death, then Yahweh is going to consider it. So that's not what it meant. And this is why we got to be careful with these English words, the way they try to choose words, because they'll try to make you believe something different than what the word means. If we look at the word meddle, it's a very interesting word, especially during this time. Arab, which is H6148. Arab or Arab, which is spelled A-R-A-B, a primitive root to braid, that is intermix, technically to traffic, as by barter, also to give or be security, engage, meddle, mingle, self, mortgage, occupy, give pledges, be, come into surety, undertake. So if you could choose one word to encompass that whole thing, don't yoke yourself unto somebody given to change. If they say, well, I don't want to serve the Most High, don't say, well, you know what? Well, I'm gonna serve the Most High, but you're not. But let's be together, and let's try to do this together. No, if they say they made a decision they want to do that, then you gotta rebuke them, talk to them, pray for them, and serve an example over there. Walk in righteousness, because you can't walk together. If you have to make a decision where you have to make a right turn to righteousness or a left turn into sin, you can't both walk together. Nope. There's going to be a separation, and that's the point where you do not meddle with them. That's the point. You don't meddle. You don't yoke yourself to them, because that's why it says, who knows the ruin of them both? Go ahead.
Verse 23. These things also belong to the wise. It is not good to have respect of persons in judgment. He that says unto the wicked, you are righteous, him shall the people curse. Nations shall abhor him. But to them that rebuke him shall be delight, and a good blessing shall come upon him. Every man shall kiss his lips that gives a right answer.
And this is why everybody hates America. Because you are saying to people that, hey, this is good. This is good, even though it's evil. So men abhor him. Nations abhor America, because we sitting here acting like our country is this holy savior of the world. But yet the people that are living around the world be like, man, you just sent a drone and blew up 15 of my kids. And you got the nerve to sit here and talk about, because we discipline our people. The world abhors that. Go ahead.
That's true. And, we have a perspective of the U.S. being that we live there, but other places are in fear of this country, and we don't really see that aspect of it. Like my life is in danger because that place over there exists. And
you calling it righteous, you calling yourself the home of the proud and the home of the brave, and the few and the proud and the many and all this crap mantra that you have, but yet you killing your own people. You blew up a building of your own people to start a war, and so some rich Jewish people can collect insurance money on that huge insurance policy they put out on the Twin Towers right before it blew up, and then flew out the family of the people that was in on the money aspect. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Prepare your work without, and make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterwards build your house. Be not a witness against your neighbor without cause, and deceive not with your lips. Say not, I will do so to him as he has done to me. I will render to the man according to his work. I went by the field of the slothful, and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was grown all over with thorns and nettles, and had covered the face thereof. And the stone wall thereof was broken down. Then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it and received instruction. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, so shall your poverty come as one that traveleth, and your want as an armed man.
All right, so that goes again to preparing your work outside. Make it fit for yourself. Go out as a young man, do your works, learn your righteousness, build your character first. Build up good works, build a family support system of brothers and sisters. Then go build your house. Because that way you're used to doing the works, you got the support system, and you can be a righteous leader of your house. But then, you know what we do the opposite. We try to go out there first and go build our house. And then while we building our house, now we want to go out there and try to do things out in the public. That's backwards. Now you got a family that you got to cater to, and your time is split apart. So young men, do your works first. Figure out who you are. Learn to build character. Learn to be of the Most High. Do all that practice. Make all your mistakes out there. Don't come in your household and make all those mistakes. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22. Revelation chapter 22. And we're going to start this at verse 1. And the Catholic Church is terrified of the book of Revelation, because the book of Revelation pretty much just denounces everything that they say.
Yep.
It's like complete opposite. So they tell you, oh, stay out of that. Stay out of Revelation. You can't understand that. Really? Can't understand a first and second death. I can't understand that no man has, seen the Father, and we can't understand all these type of things.
Don't forget about that highly blessed business.
Right. We're getting into that.
Revelation chapter 22 and verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, there was the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations.
All right. So you have these 12 manners of fruit. This is in the kingdom. You have a pure river of water of life, proceeding out the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, on either side of the river, was a tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, representing the 12 tribes. And it yielded fruit every month, and the leaves, which are growing alongside of the fruit, which are coming from that same tree of life, were for the healing of the nations. So the nations have to go to the tree with the fruit, the 12 manner of fruit, which are the children of Yasharal, to receive healing of their nations. And it prophesies about what those people will say. They'll come up to the children of Yasharal and say, man, our forefathers have inherited lies. This is true life here. This is true healing. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Elohim and the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for Yahweh Elohim gives them light, and they shall reign forever and ever.
And this is the same light that was there in the beginning. The same light. Day one, he said, let there be light, and there was light, and there was light. But then you continue reading, you don't see the sun and the moon and the stars being created until the fourth day. So it's just going back to how things were originally, where we had the light of the Most High. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, these are faithful and true. These sayings are faithful and true. And the Elohim of the holy prophet sent his angel to show unto his servants the things which must shortly be done. Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keeps the saying of the prophecy of this book. I, Yohanan, saw these things and heard them. And when I heard and seen, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel which showed me these things. Then said he unto me, see, you do it not, for I am your fellow servant and of your brethren the prophets, and of them which keep the sayings of this book. Worship Elohim.
So in other words, get up. Get up. Don't worship me. There's only one person to worship, which is the Father. Period. We don't worship the Mashiach. We don't worship Christ. We worship through him because he's the vessel. If I want to worship the Most High, what do I need to worship the Most High? I need his word. And the Mashiach, the Messiah, Christ, was the word in flesh. So I have to go through the word in flesh, the word, to get to the Most High. But see, people take things so carnally, thinking that I got to worship Yahshua. I got to praise Jesus and all this type of stuff. No, you praise Yah. Hallelujah. I am yet to see Hallelujah Yahshua in this book. I'm yet to see that. Praise Yah. Praise you, Yah. But we go through this word to praise Yah. So when this spirit and this servant came before Yohanan, the revelator, he thought, well, this is surely coming from the Most High. He was ready to worship. No, get up. We're not taking any glory away from the Most High. And that's how we have to serve as that example, that anybody that tries to, in any kind of way, give us more credit than what we're due, no. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that belongs to the Most High.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Worshiping these angels and so forth, rubbing their feet.
Exactly.
All that kind of crap.
Right.
Revelation chapter 22 and verse 10. And he said unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still.
All right. So do not yoke yourself to people. If they want to be filthy, they want to be unrighteous, let them go. But at the end of the day, if they want to be righteous and they want to be holy, don't interfere with somebody. When you see somebody trying to do the right thing just because you ain't there, because you're not ready, don't be an agent of the adversary where you trying to downplay somebody and make them a sinner because you uncomfortable about your sin. I'll never forget this football practice when we was kids. We running sprints. We running sprints back and forth. And you trying to get in shape, you trying to get faster, and everybody else is tired. So you still got energy, you in shape, you running the sprints, everybody telling you slow down, because you making the coach look at us because we don't want to run no more, we tired. So I got to sacrifice my training and my ability because you don't want to do something? That's that crab in a barrel. I don't want to see you make it, so I'm pulling you back down. And this is rampant in our community of people that cannot stand to see us succeed. Now, whether you fully believe this or not, you're going to look at a brother that's walking in righteousness and you'll be like, I know that's what I'm supposed to do. Your spirit going to tell you that. Your body going to tell you that. You can see that these deeds are righteous. But when you feel uncomfortable because this person is doing something and showing that it can be done, then you try to break him down or break her down. And that's not good. That's not going to help us. And there's going to be a recompense for that. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 13.
12.
Verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last.
The left towel. Go ahead.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loves and makes a lie.
So these are the people that are outside of the kingdom, outside of the tree of life with the leaves that heal the nations. Dogs, which are beasts with no law, sorcerers that are doing witchcraft and all that type of stuff, and whoremongers, murderers, idolaters, and whosoever loves and makes a lie. So it's important to get that last part about who loves and makes a lie. Somebody else made up that lie about Jesus and all that type of stuff. Christ, the Mashiach, was real. Yahshua HaMashiach, the Son of the Most High, from Bethlehem, that's real. So just because you didn't make up that lie, but you turn around and know the truth that the letter J wasn't created until the 15th, 16th century. You know that could never have been his name. But you didn't make that up. But you love that lie. You love that lie because you know it's the truth, but yet you still choose to push that. That's loving a lie. So he's yoking both of you because you just as bad. Because if you loving that lie that somebody else created, you're making it easier for other people to love a lie. And that's important with something where it says there's none other name given amongst men in which we can be saved. I have given him a name above all other names. That's very important. Go ahead, Elder.
I just want to bring to everybody's attention, my brother was talking about, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and they enter through the gates into the city. And my brothers is expounding on verse 15. When we go back to verse 14, let's just go to the New Testament when it talks about John 14. He does say in verse 15, if you love me, keep my commandments. And we continue reading down, but if you go to verse 21, it says, he that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall love my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. Now, if you never knew to keep commandments, somebody was teaching you to keep commandments, and you're listening about how to keep the commandments, well, start off in Exodus chapter 20, and go through them and understand what he's trying to say. I mean, he also 613 commandments, statutes, and judgments, how we live our lives. But there's also 7 holy days in which we're supposed to keep that Yahweh commanded us to do.
Right.
But I don't see majority or none of these churches out there keeping those 7 days. There's 7 holy days that Yahweh, 7 holy days he said to keep, these festivals. So we need to look at ourselves and say, are we truly keeping Yahweh's commandments? And when you do search for them, then allow yourself to understand that this is what Yahweh has said for us to do.
Right.
He didn't say it only for the Israelites back in the day. Because if you read through the New Testament, you will see Yeshua kept these holy days consistently. So he's trying to allow and wake his people up. Just tell them, look, in chapter 14, as I said, if you love me, so if you say you love Yeshua, you love the Son of the Most High, say keep my commandments. On the very next page, he said in chapter 15, verse 14, if you are my friends, if you do whatsoever I command you, and he's been saying, keep the commandments. So I hope that, brothers and sisters, that I made sense to you so you can look into them to understand what the Messiah is trying to tell you.
Right. And while we're on the name thing, which we don't argue with people about names, but what we will do is things that we know is 100% wrong, we will correct that and we will put that information out. A brother made a comment using the name Yahovah or Jehovah. Yahovah would be, I guess, the more semi-Hebrewish word of Jehovah. We use Yahweh. Other people use Yahuwah or Yahweh. Those are all good names. But just a little insight on the name Hova or Yehovah. If you have a Strong's Concordance, you can see what that name means in Hebrew. When you look up the word Hova in Hebrew, it is H1943, Hova, spelled H-O-V-A-H, and that is from H1942, which literally means ruin and mischief. His name was not Hova. It was never Hova or Jehovah. It's always been a Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh. It's always been Yahweh, that type of thing. Hova itself means ruin and mischief. So this is why they chose to take out Yahweh's name or Yad-He-Wah-He out and replace it with something that constantly gives worship to their God, which is ruin and mischief. So if anybody wants to look that up, you can get you a Strong's Concordance, which is a Bible dictionary, and look up the word Hova, which is the lexicon number H1943, 1943. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 16, Revelation chapter 22 and verse 16. I, Yahshua, have sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, come. And let him that hears say, Come. And let him that is athirst say, Come. And whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely. For I testify unto every man that hears the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, Elohim shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Elohim shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book.
Now, that is very important. It's so important that he ends the entire word with that warning. Do not add unto this word, and do not take away from this word. So the beginning of something and the end of something is what we remember. That's how the brain operates. It'll forget and muddy up what's in the middle, but you remember the beginning and the last. And the last thing that he's telling you here is do not add or remove, because it's already perfect. So somebody can't tell you, you can't do this or you can't do that, or you have to do this and you have to do that, if it's not in this word, because now they're your Elohim, they're your God, they're your idol. So this is what the religious system will do, which is made and fabricated by men, is create these laws to oppress you, to have you do something or have you not do something. So you'll be in a perpetual state of sin, so that you can feel that I have to go to this religious organization because I'm falling short and I have to give them this money. But at the end of the day, if it's not thus says Yah, then man made it up. You don't have to do that, and you shouldn't feel bad. But now the book is beyond 613 commandments. It also tells you that if you know to do good and you don't, it's sin unto you. So this is why you have to learn the character of the Most High, learn what your calling is and what your expectations are, so that you know right from wrong, so that you can know how to, when somebody makes a suggestion of what you should do, that, okay, I'm not truly following what they're saying, I'm just agreeing with what they're saying, because that's righteousness as defined in this book. So let's go back. We're going to go to Ruth chapter 1.
There was a verse that Yahshua said a while ago, and he was like, come, whosoever will, let him come to the water of life. Come and take the water of life freely.
Right.
And it's funny how that statement makes everything seem so easy.
Right.
And what it does is it shows our iniquitous inclination that we're being hindered from the waters of life because there is sin dwelling within us, why we have such a hard time doing everything that the Spirit says to do.
Right.
You know, reconcile with your brother if he does something wrong. You know, somebody ask of you of your tune to give him your cloak also, or stuff like that. You know, not resisting evil, but make room for the revenge of Yah.
Right.
But we can't come to those waters as freely as he said, because we're struggling with our internal battles and our sins.
Exactly.
But if we meditate on those things, that we've been given the Spirit that's supposed to help us obey the law of Yah. So if we meditate on those things, and our prayer is to allow that Spirit to do that, we can come and walk and freely partake of that river. But we definitely have to put aside those parts, remove from us the uncleanness, so that Yah can receive us.
Right. And that takes some of our previous study about the waters of life, the fountain of life. This water which we read through is this word, is this Spirit, this Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, this word, the Mashiach. Out of us will come a living, out of our belly flows living waters. So this water that's out here is free for us to choose to take it. All we have to do is choose it and go and take it. That's why I said he wants it, come freely, come take it. But like you said, it's our flesh and our desires to do things of the world that cause us not to take that water, not to take of that life, but to choose death. So we're in Ruth chapter 1. Now this decision wasn't just given to the children of Yasharal. It wasn't like he said, you people, you're the only one that get to choose life. No, he said, you people are going to choose life, or you're going to get these curses all the way until you die. That's the difference. They have to choose life or they die. But they don't get the curses all the way into the death. They just get the normal, you reap what you sow. You light a firecracker, it is going to eventually blow up. It is what it is. Ruth chapter 1, and we're going to start this at verse 1, and we're going to look at how the Most High will allow somebody of another nation to cleave on to the children of Yasharal, to cleave on to righteousness, and they can come up under the wings of the Mashiach.
Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Yehudah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of the wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelled there about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died, both of them, and the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab, for she heard in the country of Moab how Yahweh had visited his people in giving them bread. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went away to return unto the land of Yehudah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each to her mother's house. Yahweh deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. Yahweh grant you that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said unto her, Surely we will return with you unto your people. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb that may be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, if I should have a husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would you tarry for them till they were grown? Would you stay for them from having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me much for your sake that the hand of Yahweh is gone out against me. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her.
All right, so the 2 daughter-in-laws were married unto Israelite brothers, and all that was left was the mother-in-law, an Israelite. So the mother-in-law is, the Israelite is like, listen, go back to your people. Go back to your mother's house. You know, I don't have any other family for you to take. Just go back. One of them, Orpah, said, okay, you know, I'll go with you, but yeah, I'm going to go back to my culture, go back to my land, worship my gods. But Ruth clave onto her, clave onto the culture of Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And she said, Behold, your sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return you after your sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave you or to return from following after you, for where you go I will go, and where you lodge I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your Elohim my Elohim. Where you die will I die, and there will I be buried. Yahweh do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part me and you. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. So they 2 went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass, when they were come to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them. And they said, Is this Naomi? And she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and Yahweh has brought me home again empty. Why then call you me Naomi, seeing Yahweh has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest.
All right, so the beginning of the barley harvest would be the Abib, would be around the time of Pesach and first fruits and things of that nature. So the bottom line is she had a choice to decide who she wanted to cleave on to, who she wanted to follow. She was freed from death, from being in bondage to her husband. But she chose. And Naomi could have said, no, you're not our people. Go over there. Go back. I was with you, dealing with you because you was dealing with my son. But no, if she wants to cleave onto the Most High, it's our duty as Israelites that if these nations want to cleave onto the Most High, that's cool. If you want to cleave onto these laws, statutes, and commandments and the order of the Most High, then come on. So if you read later in the story, we all know that she got her a Boaz. She got her a righteous man. And she was known in Israel to be a virtuous, righteous woman. So she had a reputation that was good, that she obviously cleaved on to the righteousness of the Most High. And if you look further, you see that Ruth is in the bloodline of the Mashiach. She's what? King David's great-grandmother or something like that? Either great-great or great-grandmother. You know, so the Most High could have chose anybody, but he chose this woman who was a Moabite, which is the children of incest, and put that into the bloodline of our greatest king, Yahshua, and King David. So let's stop right there. Let's move on. We're going to go to Yeshayah chapter 65. Isaiah chapter 65.
Aki, that's a great example of how foreign nations will want to cleave unto Yah in that same manner. You know, completely determined, knowing that Yah has chosen us specifically, so they'll definitely do their best to find their way in a place among us, even if it's maybe servitude.
And that's our job. Our job was to serve as that example so that the nations would want to cleave onto this righteousness. So they'd see us sitting up high, blessed and wise, and say, well, I want to be like that because I'm in my nation and I got all this money and I got all this stuff, but I'm not blessed like them. I want to be blessed like them. But what we did was we sat way up there, looked down and said, you people suck. But I'm going to do the same thing y'all do, but I'm going to sit way up here. And the Most High said, no, you're not. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. Get down there, and I'm gonna have them be your slave masters. The same people that was looking up at you, that you went in their land, kicked them out their land, took all their stuff that they built their whole lives, and then now they understand that you didn't do that because you were less people. You must have had a mighty Elohim that did that. Well, Elohim not messing with y'all because y'all ain't keeping his commandments. So what you think they're gonna do? They're gonna oppress the crap out of us, and that's what they did.
You know, the funny thing is that Israel was chosen to drive the Canaanites out the land. More specifically, the children of Amalek. When Yahweh sent Saul against the king
first to come against us.
Yeah, against the king of Amalek, and he was supposed to slew Agag in pieces and all that stuff, but he didn't. He was supposed to, and the judgment for the iniquities that they committed in the land of Canaan was like what Yah said to Saul: destroy everything that destroy breathes. Every man, woman, infant, cattle, everything there has to go. Because Yahweh, because even before, I don't remember who he made a covenant with, but he was like, remain here, for the sin of the Amalekites has not come to the full. So
Amorites.
Was it?
It was the Amorites.
So it's like Yah is measuring sin level.
Right.
And if he has not made a specific covenant with you,
right,
when that sin level reaches a certain point, he's like, that's it. You got to go. So he rose up the Israelites to go and drive them out of the land. So in the course of time, Israel ends up doing the same thing.
Right.
You get sinful. You know, your temple is defiled. Then you want to do a burnt offering, lamb offerings, and everything that you own is defiled. Yah is not going to take any of your lambs. So guess what? You're supposed to fall under the same judgment of the people that you drove out of the land.
Exactly. They
sinned. Everything they had to die. Y'all sinned. Rightfully, everything y'all had to die. But because he made a covenant with your forefathers,
right,
he said, you know what? I have a sacrifice I'm going to make for y'all, which is in the Son. But y'all are going into some serious chastisement.
Right.
Yep.
So the same way the Amalekites had been cut off is not the way I'm going to deal with you.
Right.
I'm not going to cut you off completely. I'm not going to make a full end of you. But I'm going to punish you and chastise you higher than any of the nations have seen for generations. So you're going to be blessed above all nations, but guess what? You're going to have a curse upon you above all nations that they've never seen before. So you're going to be blessed in a way that they've never seen before, but being that I'm a just Elohim, I do equity. You were supposed to be blessed more than everyone, and when you do the right thing, but since you want to sin, you're going to be cursed
7
more than
times
everyone.
more for your sins. And you look at it, why were the Canaanites there in the first place? That's not the land of Shem. When you go into that same book we was talking about, Brother Wesley, Book of Jubilees, it talks about how the forefathers Shem, Ham, and Japheth split up the world, and from the Nile River on and all that was the land of Shem. So all that land there, the Canaanites did not belong there. They had covenant, brothers made covenant that this is where they're supposed to be. So they moved into a land that they weren't supposed to be because they're not a holy people that don't understand holiness. So the Most High dealt with them. But then how much more you think He's going to deal with us when we're holy people, we in our land, and we defiled our land that was given to us by the Most High? Then He going to really deal with us because you know better. These people didn't know no better. When the Assyrians came and grabbed up northern Israel and took them out of Samaria and took them up to Assyria and Europe and all those other different places, they started getting ate up by lions. So they had to go call Israelites to come in and say, teach us, because we don't know the manner of the God in this land.
1 Kings chapter 30.
17.
Chapter 6?
17.
17.
Yeah. We didn't know the manner of the land. So we were getting ate up. So we're at Yeshaya, Isaiah, chapter 65.
I am sought of them not. I am sought of them that act not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all day to a rebellious people, which walked in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. A people that provokes me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifices in gardens and burns incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
What does that sound familiar? A people that provokes me to anger continually to my face, because where is His face always on? Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is the assembly, is the church, is the people, right? And burneth incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves, and lodge in monuments, idols and things that we are not supposed to graven images, and eat swine's flesh and broth of abominable things in their vessels. Gumbo, shrimp, crab, all this bottom feeders. Go ahead.
Which say, stand by yourself, come not near to me, for I am holier than you. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burns all the day.
So here you are, a straight abomination, and got the nerve to look over at some white person or some African that you think is a so-called African because you don't know, and say, oh, get away from me. I am holier than you. But you blood red with sin all over your hands. You hating your own brothers. You hating Esau. You hating Egyptians when we got commandments that told us point blank, do not abhor the Edomite, for he is your brother. Do not hate the Egyptian because you were a stranger in his land. But got the nerve to look down at somebody that know less than you, that had less of an opportunity than you. But this is our people do. We had to go into captivity. Go ahead.
Verse 6, behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, says Yahweh, which have burnt incense upon the mountains and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. Thus says Yahweh, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one says, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servants' sakes, that I may not destroy them all. And I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob and out of Yehuda, an inheritor of my mountains, and mine elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. And Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, and the valley of Achor a place for herds to lie down in. For my people have sought me. But you are they that forsake Yahweh, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number.
Stop right there at verse 11. This is why we don't use that term God. If we go to Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 11, we're going to see what that word for troop is. Now we know that that's Gad. Isaiah 65 and verse 11. If we look at that word, that prepare a table for that troop, is H1409. God. It's spelled G-A-D, but they write G-A-W-D for God. That's where the term God came from, in the sense of distributing, fortune, troop. God, if you Google that, or you go to Merriam-Webster, or you Wikipedia, or whatever, however you want to look that up, that was a Canaanite deity of fortune. This is where all that prosperity doctrine, but God, and all that stuff came from. This is nothing new. This is what we're doing. We are preparing tables. We are preparing offerings for God so that we could get blessings, so we could get all these different things. Instead of saying, well, we are going to do righteousness. We're going to keep commandments. We're going to repent from our sins and receive the blessings that the Most High wants to give us. So all this stuff is right in here. But they just changed these words, troop and all. What does troop have to do with anything? They know what they're doing. They're trying to hide these things in this book from you. Verse 12.
Therefore will I number you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, you did not answer, and when I spoke, you did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Therefore thus says my sovereign Yahweh, behold, my servants shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but you shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but you shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And you shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for my sovereign Yahweh shall slay you, and call his servants by another name.
Yasharah. He will call his servants by another. Call yourself a Jew, and Jewish, and Judaism, and all that type of stuff. We're going to be by another name, Yasharah. And we're going to be by that new name that's given us that no man knows. Go ahead.
That he who blesses himself in the earth shall bless himself in the Elohim of truth. And he that swears in the earth shall swear by the Elohim of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, and because they are hid from my eyes.
So he who blesses himself in the earth shall bless himself in the Elohim of truth, not in Gad, God, the Phoenician deity of fortune. Go ahead.
For behold, I create a new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But you shall be glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, a joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more there an infant of days, nor an old man that has not fulfilled his days. For the child shall die at 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. That means there's no more curse.
Right, so those curses away, just like what the elder was talking about. We not building these houses like the White House, where Nam Israelite ever stayed in there. We building these houses that we not staying in. We work and we doing all these different things, and we building our communities like Black Wall Street in Tulsa, and they just blow it up. The curses. You're not going to beat the curse. You're not going to do what they do and do it better, because that's what we do. We do what they do and do it better because we originated it. We started all this stuff. They came after and learned these things. But we're not going to do those things and ignore the righteousness of the Most High, and ignore his people, and ignore the repentance that's necessary, and think that we're going to be blessed. Yeah, we can build something up. 1 + 1 is going to be 2. But then he's going to come with an eraser and just destroy it all. Go ahead.
Well, you need to understand too that Satan does bless too.
Of course.
See,
Yeah.
And expound on that, man, because people realize how blessed they are, so to speak. You don't realize if Satan can go to the Most High Son and tell him, I'll give you all these things. You see, if Satan can go to the Most High Son while he was fasting 40 days and 40 nights and can offer him kingdoms of the world, riches of the world, power of the world, whatever his heart desire, whatever the world has to give, he was offering to the Son of the Most High. All he had to do was bow down to the enemy to receive it. And our people don't realize that Satan can give good things too. But, as my brother said earlier, we need to check this word out and map verse against verse, precept against precept, line upon line, to realize who is giving you this. And the only way I feel that we can understand these things is see what we're doing, match what we're doing toward the scripture. To what if we're doing righteousness toward what Yahweh said righteousness it is. Are we following what Yahweh has said for us to do? Or we are following what the world says to do? And we can judge ourselves.
All right, go ahead, brother.
This is verse 23, or verse 24. Oh, this is verse 23. This is Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 23. They shall not labor in vain nor bring forth trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of Yahweh, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call I will answer, and while they are yet speaking I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and the dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, says Yahweh.
All right. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1. Mishlei chapter 1. And we have one more after that for the conclusion.
Yep, the Edenic covenant. But you can't go back into that Edenic covenant if your heart isn't able to maintain it, or is you're going to end up defiling a whole priesthood like we did in Levitical order.
Right.
That whole priesthood ended up defiled. So when you end up trying to ascribe to an order that's above you, you end up defiling it. The Levitical priesthood can accommodate us. That Edenic priesthood is not for us. That's how Adam and Eve got kicked out the garden. Like, yo, y'all not ready. So y'all starts us off highly exalted, but we keep showing what's in our hearts, and he has to demote us and demote us and demote us. And the Levitical priesthood was supposed to, it's the priesthood of reconciliation, to reconcile the people who've been banished for their sin. But once we get to that place where, no more shall a man teach his neighbor, saying, know Yahweh, for they shall all know him.
That's right.
Then we're ready to ascend to a higher covenant, a higher priesthood than this Levitical one. But we're still in this place right here. Y'all sent the Levitical priesthood. We failed at it, but he's like, nah, it's gonna do the work I sent it here to do.
Right.
So we're not gonna move forward from it until we fulfill it, because Yah's word is gonna go water the earth and plant it and bring forth the fruit that he wants. It's not going to return unto him void. So that Levitical priesthood will not return unto him void.
Right. Right.
Mishlei, Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, Shlomo, the son of Dawid, king of Yasharal, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment and equity, to give subtilly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. A man of understanding shall attain to wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and forsake not the law of your mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto your head, and chains about your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, consent you not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Casting your lot among us, let us all have one purse. My son, walk not you in the way with them. Refrain your foot from their path, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood.
So we have a choice. We choose where we want to walk. That's why we got 2 feet. We got 2 feet to walk, and so that we can jab to the left or jab to the right. We can change our direction, so we make that decision. So you can't blame anybody else for the results in your life, because you chose that. You chose that walk. Now, what you can say is, well, I didn't like the results of this walk, so I'm going to blame myself, and I'm going to walk differently.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Verse 17, surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which takes away the life of the owners thereof. Wisdom cries without, she utters her voice in the street. She cries in the chief place of the concourse. In the openings of the gates in the city she utters her words, saying, How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge? Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you.
If you turn at his reproof. So when you're rebuked according to this word, and you clearly see that your actions are counter to this word, then once you turn to that, then he can pour out his spirit unto you, and he can make his words known unto you. Whereas, okay, I don't quite understand why this is wrong, but it says don't do this or don't do that. So you rebuke, you turn away from doing those things, then he pours out the spirit to you and makes you understand his words. He doesn't just make you understand everything first and then you try to do something. It doesn't work that way, because then you would be held accountable at the level of somebody that understands all those things. And we're not ready for that. We're not ready for that.
Brother, can we look up the definition of a scorner?
All right.
It's H.
What's the strong?
H 3887.
All right. So it is Lutz. Lutz. H 3887 for scorner. That's spelled L-U-T-S. A primitive root to make mouths at. That is to scoff. Hence, from an effort to pronounce a foreign language, to interpret or intercede. Ambassador. Have in derision. Interpreter. Make a mock or mockery. Scorner. Teacher. So you're a teacher of false doctrine, or you're making a mockery of something, or you're scoffing at something because you don't like it. So you're scoffing at it. You're purposely trying to defraud something. And that's very close to blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. That's real borderline. Because you taking the truth and you trying to push the truth off. This is a very dangerous place to be. For we know that's the one unforgivable sin, blasphemy against the Holy Spirit.
So it's basically saying, how long, you simple ones, you love simplicity? The scorners delight in their scorning and their mocking, and fools hate knowledge.
Right. They enjoy it. They enjoy mocking doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. And then the fool right around with him, he hates knowledge. When somebody said, bro, that's foolishness, man. That's a piece of wood. That's not your God.
Indeed. So we should warn people of making fun of stuff that they don't necessarily understand, because they could be making fun of the wrong thing. Right.
And it's the same goes with us. Just because it's not all in this book, this is not the book of all knowledge. Mm-hmm. This is the book of the knowledge that was given to us to attain unto righteousness. So there might be other gifts. Well, we know there's other knowledges out there, but you have to put it in its place and in its order of importance. That knowledge is not necessarily bad knowledge. Mm-hmm. It's just not knowledge for us right now. The knowledge we need right now is to not die. So then when we get a good feel of that, then we can grab some of that other knowledge to accentuate the knowledge that we have for wisdom, so we can talk to a knowledgeable person about something. So we may not understand it. You know, people talking about chakras and other spiritual sciences that aren't really fully given in this book. Mm-hmm. That's not for us to mock at that. It's just for us to say, hey, listen, as long as we're not going off into sorcery, or we calling on dead spirits, or we taking that and say, this is what's going to heal me, over repenting.
Indeed, indeed. So I guess it's good advice universally to refrain from mocking, since we don't know everything.
Even in this word, we know that this book has been altered. We know that. We have to get into Hebrew to see things. So when somebody introduces something that to us that's foreign, we can't mock at that because we don't fully understand it. Mm-hmm. Now, we can take it and say, listen, I'm not going to follow that because I don't understand it and that's not in my book. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it in that little box of prove this right or prove that wrong. But I'm not going to mock you. I'm not going to mock you. Even if you sound like a fool, I'm not going to mock you because I'm concerned for you. Because a fool is in danger of death.
Indeed. This is Proverbs, Mishlei chapter 1 and verse 23. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. Mm-hmm. I will make known my words unto you. because I have called and you have refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But you have set at naught all my counsel and would have none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear comes. When your fear comes as desolation and your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish comes upon you, like it says, those are given to change their calamity, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me.
So if you take the righteousness of Yah has been introduced to you, the fear of Yah has been shown to you, and you disregard it and you set it at nothing. You set at naught his counsel. In other words, when he sends a brother or sister that is retaining the spirit of Yah at that moment to talk to you, because no man has the power to retain the spirit all the time, and he gives you wise counsel, bruh, you might want to stay away from that married woman. That is abomination. That is death unto you. And you shut up. Do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, husband ain't hitting it right. Whatever. And you say some foolishness like that. Then when all this destruction piles upon you and you're like, but God, he gonna laugh at you and he gonna make sure you feel you. But praise Yah, he not like man. Because man will cut you off forever. The Most High will give you an opportunity if he didn't kill you. If the husband didn't come in that room and put a 45 in your head, you have a chance to repent and get on your knees and apologize and make sure that you be a witness to other people that this is not the way to go. So your prayers will be unheard. And let me tell you, from somebody that personally experienced this, it is not nice. It is not good when the Most High is laughing at you. Your boy laugh at you, ha ha ha, you might laugh too. The Most High laugh at you and mock you. And he's a mocker. He will mock you. He'll put the same thing in your face, the thing that you wanted to do, to the point where his law says the thing you wanted to do to that person is the same thing that's going to happen to you. You wanted to kill that person and you were caught in wrong. You gave false report. Well, guess what? You going to get killed in that same manner. Go ahead, brother. Verse 29.
For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them.
The prosperity of fools. That goes right back to what the elder was saying, that the adversary can bless too. He can bless. He brought Yahshua, and he'll try to convince you with the stupid, the same thing that these people out here try to do with these deals and these sales and all this stuff to take your money from you. Convince you to buy some stuff you already have. So he's coming to the Mashiach, the adversary, the devil, and saying, hey, all this is given unto me. I can give it to you. All the riches, all the stuff of the world. You talking to the person that created this world.
Yep.
You're talking to the creator, who did this by the authority of the Most High, trying to convince you to make a decision on something that's already given unto you. And now you get it. Oh, I got it. I got this gold. I got the silver. I got this gorgeous woman. That's the prosperity of fools. That woman could be your downfall. Like Makar. Makar was given unto Dawid to be a thorn in his side. But you getting the prosperity of fools because you think that it's going to gain for you to not keep the righteousness of this word. Go ahead, brother.
For the same token, brother, this deal with how shows outside, we stiff back our people up. When Yahweh sent Samuel to tell the people what's going to happen to them if they decided to take a man king over them instead of God. He said, I shall be your king and your island. They said, he told them, go and tell them exactly what's going to happen to them. I think he told them expressly to maybe 3 times. The people, but think about this. The people going to tell Samuel, go tell the Lord, tell Yahweh, oh, that's not going to happen. So you're basically telling Yahweh, Elohim of all righteousness and all truth, that he's alive. That's not going to happen that way. But we know better. when you get a king, it ain't going to happen like that. You just want to be like the rest of the nation. See, that's how foolish we are. That you obviously going to tell the Most High, the Creator of us, the Creator of all things, and all things that were created was created by Him. Oh, that's not true, y'all. It's going to happen this way. That's not going to happen with your talk. That shows how stupid we are, how stiff-necked we are. And that's why we in trouble the way we are today. And we will not seek Yahweh's holy and true counsel.
Right. You know, but I like the fact that you know, our elder here brought up how they asked for a king. And I think we oftentimes forget the type of war that's going on in the earth. The issue is that people don't like righteousness.
Right.
It's not that they didn't want a leader over them. They just didn't necessarily want one that's bound to do everything that's righteous. They want one that's going to be angry once in a while and do rash things and call people names and all, you know, all kind of weird stuff. The issue people have is with righteousness. They don't want a priestly king. They just want a regular worldly king. Give us
like
a guy,
everybody else.
Give us a guy that's tall and strong. Yeah, let's get Saul. He's tall, he's strong, he looks the part. This priest stuff, you know, away with the temple, you know, away with the sacrifices, away. Just give us a regular, just a secular, you know. The issue that people have is with righteousness. The issue that people have is with an Elohim that's correcting them and telling them what to do. But they don't understand that this experience that we're having on the earth is the same that we read in Proverbs, where you check your tools in the field, you put them to the test out in the field. If they're good, you bring them into the house.
Right.
It's the same thing. We're being tested on this earth right now to see, will we do the things that are righteous? What kind of
vessel are you?
When we finally are brought to the knowledge of this word, just like it says, you set at naught all my counsel, you will have none of my reproof. This word is telling you, if you do wrong, you're going to reap evil reward. And we'll do the wrong and reap the evil reward and be like, that's just a coincidence. You know, I mean, bad stuff happens to everyone.
Right.
And y'all seeing that, okay, I can see that I cannot bring this person into my dwelling place because out in the field, they're proving and showing that they're not fit. That they're not going to do what they're asked to do, even though I simply said, do the right thing and I'll receive you. So you can easily be pushed and thrown into the fire.
Right, right.
Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 33.
Yes, sir.
31. Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 33. But whoso hearkens unto me shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil.
Okay. So they would none of my counsel will despise my reproof. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. So let's go to the conclusion. Let's go to Yeshayah chapter 56. So we just went over people of another nation. People of another nation will have the opportunity to cleave onto the Most High. They have the choice to choose life and death as well. Well, in that previous kingdom, it had to be a complete separation of, you know, the clean and unclean, and, you know, the Levitical order, and, you know, if the man's stones was crushed, or if he was, you know, a eunuch, or if he was, you know, unclean, or had, you know, open cut, and all these different things. It was a lot of focus on carnality to get the point of understanding that physically unpureness is not have a place with the kingdom. But at the end of the day, that was to kind of manifest the physical to get us to understand spiritually what he was trying to say. Your iniquity, your uncleanness, your unholiness is not accepted here. But beyond that, the person himself can be accepted if they choose life. So here we're going to see this in Isaiah 56, that even the eunuch, this is a man that has his member cut off, can still have a place, can still choose to call the Most High, because flesh and blood is not going to inherit the kingdom. So let's hear the conclusion. We're going to Yeshayah, Isaiah, chapter 56, and we'll start this at verse 1.
Thus says Yahweh, keep you judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that does this, and the Son of Man that lays hold on it, that keeps the Sabbath from polluting it, and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger that has joined himself to Yahweh speak, saying, Yahweh has utterly separated from me his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I'm a dry tree.
So this is the character of the Most High. This is one of the greatest prophets, Yeshayah, Isaiah, speaking here in 56, letting you know the character of the Most High. No, he's not the God that says, well, I created everything, but I created everybody else to be firewood. But you, black man, you that's doing wickedness in the earth, you special. All of y'all gonna be straight. That's not the character of the Most High. He's letting you know point blank, neither let the son of the stranger, not just any son of a stranger, but the son of a stranger that joins himself to Yahweh, saying Yahweh has separated me from his people. There's a place for those other people amongst us as well. But we can't just grab, the strangers and just bring them in. They haven't joined themselves to Yah, because they're going to corrupt us. We already got a problem with doing the things that the other nations do. But it's not, the separation was for us to learn how to be holy. Once we learn how to be holy and we have our house in order, then we can invite people in the house. You don't invite people in your house is all messed up. You got dust everywhere. Everything is, you're fixing stuff hanging. It's dangerous. People trip. You fix your house first. Then you invite people in when you get settled into your house. But you allow the laborers in. You allow your family in that's going to help you build your house. You allow them to come in. But you don't bring the stranger off the street. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 56 in verse 4. For thus says Yahweh unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant.
And notice what he's saying. He could have chose anything of those 613 commandments, but he said the eunuchs that keep my Shabbats. What we doing right now, keeping his Sabbath day, what the world ain't doing. That he will even allow a dude who is castrated come into his kingdom. Go ahead.
It's been neutered.
Yes.
Even unto them will I give my house, and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Also the sons of the stranger, this is promises unto Gentiles. Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahweh to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants, everyone that keeps the Sabbath from polluting it and takes hold of my covenant.
And there he goes talking about the Sabbath, but he says loves the name of Yahweh. So you're not coming in there with Jehovah and Jesus and God and the Lord. You're not coming in there with all that, because you don't love and respect. You're not reverencing the name of Yahweh. You're not glorifying his name. And when we get into that's a whole nother class when you're talking about Shem. Because it's more than just an appellation. To love his name, you got to love his character as well. Go ahead.
Even then when I bring into my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer, their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar, for my house shall be called an house of prayer for all people.
For all people. Does it say house of prayer for just Yasharal? Does it say house of prayer for just black people who may be Yasharal? No, he said a house of prayer for all people. Go ahead. And who's the house? We the house. So we for all people. Go ahead.
My sovereign Yahweh, which gathers the outcasts of Yasharal, says, yet will I gather others to him besides those that are gathered unto him. All you beasts of the field come to devour, yea, all you beasts in the forest. His watchmen are blind, they are all ignorant, they are all dumb dogs, they cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber.
Now,
yea.
who are the watchmen? Who is he talking about now? He talking about Gentiles? He talking about stranger? He talking about eunuch? No, he's talking about us. We're the ones that are blind and ignorant and dumb dogs that cannot bark. So we can't warn nobody about this word. Sleeping, spiritual slumber, laying down, loving to be asleep. Go ahead, verse 11.
Yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one for his gain from his quarter. Come you, say they, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as this day and much more abundant.
All right. So in understanding the character of the Most High, does anybody believe that these dogs are going to enter the kingdom But the stranger that joins himself to Yahweh, the eunuch that keeps his Shabbat and joins himself to Yahweh and his people, he going to be pushed out the kingdom? But the dogs going to be in there? The greedy dogs? No, because we already read that in Revelation chapter 22. Them people going to be outside.
Brother.
You know, I'll say that, brother. Just take it very quick. I just want to add, you talking about unity, but also it's also in Acts. Yes, Acts chapter 8, dealing with, chapter 36, verse 36. And as they went their way, they came upon a certain water. See here, what can hinder me being baptized? He's talking about, if the eunuch keep baptized, he's asking. So why did he turn him away? If he didn't have a chance to enter the kingdom, to be baptized. So I'm trying to say is, when people preach out there, you got to go in person. When you see people preaching that, it's only for the Buddha, it's going to be saved. You Gentiles can go about your way because it's ain't for you. But yet it tells you in Galatians, in chapter 4, it tells you, I think maybe around verse 4, it tells you about how there is the difference between Jew or Greek.
Right.
When you continue down in that verse, it tells you this is talking about the resurrection. So if all people expounding on the truth, they speak truth, don't speak lies. Because it tells you in the scripture that they have a chance to arrive with Yahweh, allow the Gentiles to show themselves unto Cephas, when he gave Cephas that dream on his roof about eating unclean things. And you say, I eat unclean things. Never did, because he knows by law, he would not be able to enter the kingdom. God didn't even talk to the law of Yahweh being unclean, eating unclean foods. But that wasn't what he talking about. He was talking about the dogs, the unclean people, the Gentiles that did not have the right to Yahweh at that time, but Yahweh opened the door to them. You understand? So they had to show, that, okay, Yahweh gave us the Holy Spirit, we had to show you, that disciple, Peter, Cephas, that, which called it's in order. And we are going to go out and teach our people now. We had to make sure that we just received the Holy Spirit to do this. So our people need to stop and don't realize they're lying when they go out there and speak this word. They're speaking hate. You understand? That's not what the scripture is speaking of. That's why I wanted to bring that point up, because I want to emphasize you talking about unity, boom, it's also in the New Testament. Talking about Gentiles, it's also in the New Testament. Talking about for all people.
Right. And notice that, did Philip go seeking this eunuch, this Egyptian? Nah, the eunuch was seeking the Most High. He was sitting there reading Yeshua, some of the same chapters that we just read. So he was reading that. So then what he did was his job. Okay, this is a man that's seeking the Most High. I'm a servant of Yah. I happen to be here. I'm here for a reason. And did Philip say, hey, come here, let me baptize you? No, the eunuch said, well, what's up? Okay, well, do you believe? Do you truly believe? Then let's do it. And then after he did his job, what happened? Gone. Got taken up into heaven. Definitely wasn't the third heaven, but he got taken up and was gone. So all these things happen for a reason, and this is part of our job. Our focus is our people. That's who we focus on. But if somebody else from another nation wants to learn, wants to do things, hey, if you come, you come. I'm not chasing you. I'm not going after you. I'm not looking for you. But if you show up, you looking for it, here it is. So we have this choice to choose life or death, and this choice is in our actions. We can choose to walk according to the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, or we can choose to walk according to the flesh. And we have thousands of years of examples in this book and in our own lives of people that walk towards the flesh and where it ends up. So
there's something interesting in verse 11 that stuck out to me. It says, yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. They are shepherds that cannot understand. So it's calling those who are shepherds are supposed to understand the struggles of the flock. Anything that's holding our people back. When the people come to you for advice and counsel, you should be able to definitely understand where they're coming from, have empathy instead of apathy, which a lot of people seem to have, and not looking to their own way, because it says everyone for his gain from his quarter. So if we want to be looked down upon from Yah, as shepherds or
Greedy.
or as a leader among our people, teaching them righteousness. We're called to not look to our own way, being that this is the first thing he said as to what he doesn't like seeing in the shepherds, those who look to their own way, or those that cannot understand, shepherds that cannot understand. So when the people have needs that need to be addressed, the shepherds are kind of like, your need don't really count that much.
Right.
So it's called for the shepherds, when the people come to you, they'll be met with empathy, they'll be met with understanding,
Right.
They'll be met with you actually going that extra mile, like how Yahshua taught us. Is that if a man asks you to go 1 mile, you go with him two.
Right. Right.
So I think that's definitely all.
I wanted to check myself because reference. I just want to check myself. Reference.
Muted. Unmuted.
3 verse 28.
So you gotta wait till we. Go ahead.
Just to,
looking for that reference material that about Galatians chapter 3.
Okay.
Verse 28.
All right. Let's go ahead and end in a prayer. All brothers move their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east towards Jerusalem. Abba Father, Yahweh, Elohim, the Isle of Abraham, Yashak, and Yaakov. Covenant Father, Elohim of Yahshua, we thank you, Yahweh. We thank you once again for bringing us into your 7th day, your Shabbat, Yahweh. We thank you that you put it in our hearts and gave us a means and a desire to come gather on your set-apart day, to hallow your day, Yahweh, to show you your sign that we are your people and you are our Elohim, Yahweh. We thank you so much for we have been in this world and know how it feels to live daily and not have an understanding of the things that please you, Yahweh. So we thank you and we acknowledge of our unworthiness, Yahweh. But Yahweh, we do ask, Yahweh, that you continue to allow us to have eyes to see and ears to hear, Yahweh, so that we can constantly keep that focus, Yahweh, on that narrow path where there is so much ruin and destruction amongst us, Yahweh, that it gets difficult with the distractions in our lives, Yahweh. So we ask that you always provide a servant, a voice, a spirit, a leader to keep us, Yahweh, in the right way, and a friend and a brother or sister, Yahweh, to rebuke us when we cannot see for ourselves, Yahweh, and give us an understanding and a humble heart to listen to wise counsel, Yahweh. And Yah, we ask, Yahweh, that you accept this offering that we give you on this day, that we gather to gain and glean of your word, Yahweh, so that we can make that proper decision between life and death, Yahweh. And we ask that you extend that blessing and that understanding and that patience and that covering, Yahweh, to all your children across the 4 corners of the earth and all the listeners and viewers and those that took the time, Yahweh, to invest in your righteousness and your understanding so that they could be righteous examples in their own lives, but also the lives of their brothers and sisters first, and then also those other nations that want to cleave onto you, Yah, through your children. Yah, all these things we humbly come before you, and we thank and pray through your holy, humble, anointed Son, Yahshua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.